Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my Stagey YouTube channel. If you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Mickey Jo and I am obsessed with all things theatre. So despite a turbulent year for the theatre community, I still managed to see quite a few shows in 2021. Between shows I was invited to review and shows that I bought tickets for myself because I wanted to go and see them, I managed to see quite a few musicals, plays, fringe theatre, various different bits and pieces. I had some weeks where I was at the theatre almost every night of the week, which is just a dream for me. Like I told you, I'm obsessed with the theatre. So today I'm going to be looking back at all of 2021 and telling you my favourite shows of the year. Now I thought about this and whether I wanted to tell you what I thought were objectively the best shows, the ones that I gave all of the 5-star reviews for, or the ones that were my favourite, and I decided that's more interesting. There are loads of places online where great critics have done roundups of the 10 objectively greatest shows of the year, which is fantastic. But I know there are some great pieces of theatre that I didn't see, so they would be omitted from my list simply because I didn't manage to get a ticket. Macbeth at the Almeida. So I thought rather than give you that same list that everyone else has already told you, I would tell you which ones meant the most to me, which ones I connected with the most. We'll call it the MickeyJoTheatre Awards, if anyone cares. I care, and that's really all that matters. In at number 10 is Amélie. Now this was a show that I had seen before. I saw it on its UK tour, but in 2021 it finally opened at the Criterion Theatre in London. I think it was a great show, it was a brilliant cast, it had a beautiful energy, and the score, oh my gosh, that score. One of my favourite cast recording discoveries from the past few years, stunningly directed, beautifully performed, an incredible production. It's a really tight ensemble cast, the way they're also playing instruments together as a band. The stage is pretty packed full of people most of the time, accompanying each other and supporting each other. It's a really lovely visual representation of a West End that's coming together. It was the kind of show I felt I could easily recommend to so many people, the kind of show I could easily go back to and know I was just going to have a lovely time. I felt like it was in the perfect theatre for it, and it really was the kind of art I wish we saw more of on West End stages. Number 9 of my top 10 shows of 2021 was a play called Is God Is at the Royal Court. I went to go see a few new plays at the Royal Court this year, which is something I've been meaning to do for a very long time, a venue I've been meaning to revisit, and I was very glad to finally have that opportunity. Now this was the play I knew the least about going into it, but I just loved it. I thought this was brilliantly ridiculous, and it was alternately funny and dark in a way you so rarely see on stage. I'm talking really side-splittingly ridiculous silliness with harrowing darkness, like very much had its foot in either extreme and just sort of brilliantly navigating the tonal shifts between them. I loved it, and for that, it was my favourite play I saw at that venue and one of my favourite things of 2021. Coming in at number 8. Now, theatrical experiences were redefined last year when Back to the Future the Musical opened at the Adelphi Theatre in the West End. When I finally got to go and see this show, it was like few things I had ever seen before. It's a musical version of the classic film, but the things that it does on that stage, the way it blends real life with cinema and creates this immersive experience, it's so beyond the scope of what so many other West End shows are doing or thought it was possible to do. It's pushing the genre of live entertainment rather than musical theatre forwards in a way that I think is going to be really popular and really important over the next decade. From the moment that you begin watching this show, just the ride that it takes you on, just the level of immersion in the adventure and just energy of this show, it's really unlike anything else in the West End. It is part show, it is part experience. I think in many ways Back to the Future does represent the future of onstage entertainment. And the cast, my gosh, getting to see Roger Bart on stage was an absolute highlight. I've been a huge fan of his for so many years, and the brilliant young talents alongside him, absolutely phenomenal. At number 7 is the opposite extreme, where Back to the Future is a show that utilizes so much technology and bells and whistles and projections. 7 was The Normal Heart at the National Theatre. This is a production that was very much pared back. It was staged in the round in this slightly Grecian style, and the whole play had the energy of a eulogy to a lost generation of gay men. This is one of the great plays written about the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Ben Daniels gave this passionate, incredible performance as Ned Weeks, who is loosely an autobiographical character based on Larry Kramer, the play's writer, who is a famously outspoken activist. It being a National Theatre production, the entire supporting cast were phenomenal. The energy throughout, the passion, it was heartbreaking, it was raw, it was at times incredibly difficult to watch and experience, but just sort of emotionally visceral in the best possible way. Number 6 was a show I had had huge hopes for and was really pleasantly surprised to love as much as I was wanting to, which was the stage adaptation of Bedknobs and Broomsticks. This was a childhood film I had such a fondness for, and I wasn't even anticipating how emotional I was going to be when seeing this show on stage. I was like a child at this performance because it was just blowing my mind. Really, the stagecraft and how it's been put together and how this narrative has been structured is really very seriously done. It's a very legitimate piece of theatre that happens to be a beautiful family-ready story. It's a beautiful production that is still touring in 2022. I have such hopes for this to find a permanent home in the West End because more people have to see it. Not only does it have such a heart and such a cleverness and such a wit to it, the way that they do the staging and the way they do the onstage magic is utterly incomparable and blows my tiny mind. I think it's phenomenal. I'm desperate to see it again, and I just have such a love for this production. Number 5. This was another play that talks a lot about HIV/AIDS, and this was Cruise. This was a one-man play written by Jack Holden that had been shown online during the lockdown. This was an incredible piece of theatre that I feel like not enough people saw. I do hope that it gets remembered when award season rolls around because Jack Holden deserves so much recognition for writing and performing in this incredible show. The emotional range of this show, the true stories that it tells, the cultural references, it immerses you in its world when it's talking about Soho in the 80s, when he's talking about all of these locations and the experiences and the people and the culture and the way that it was theatricalized, utilizing the music that was being created on stage, using the lighting. It created such an immersive experience that transported you to this world that it was talking about. And that's really important for a piece like this, where it can put you at the emotional heart of its story and then break yours in the process. Speaking of immersive theatre, in at number 4 was the highly anticipated revival of Cabaret at the Playhouse Theatre, now renamed The Kit Kat Club. Surely the hottest ticket of 2021, this revival starred Eddie Redmayne and Jessie Buckley as the MC and Sally Bowles. Alongside them was a phenomenal supporting cast, and at the helm, rising star director Rebecca Frecknell. From the moment that you enter the Kit Kat Club, you are entering this world of 1930s era Berlin. So much has been brought together, so much care has been taken to make sure that audiences are going to have a brilliant theatrical experience before the show even begins. And when it does, the performance is phenomenal. This kind of theatre is exactly the kind of thing that I love. Classic musical revivals done edgy and raw and contemporary and just immediate and passionate. There's some incredibly chilling moments as well, like it's as dark as any version of Cabaret I've ever seen before. The staging is exceptional, the choreography is exceptional, the cast are committed. Jessie Buckley gives a star-turn performance as Sally Bowles. My third favourite show of the year was Life of Pi. If you know anything about this story, it starts with a family who are transporting an entire zoo's worth of animals to another country. And so it features a great many animals on stage. We start in this relatively plain room, and the way that the stage opens up and transforms into this Indian zoo is incredible. The way that it puts all of this across using puppetry, using projections, using staging, using simple theatre techniques, beautifully done, is just magical. You can see how it's happening in Life of Pi. You can see the machinations of it all. You can see the puppeteering of the animals. It's all very much shown to you, but it's such brilliant stagecraft that it works so perfectly, and you are convinced of these animals' souls and personalities. And then there are moments in the show where they are creating storms and they are creating set changes. It will consistently make your jaw drop repeatedly until it is on the floor. I always say the most important thing to me in any theatre piece is storytelling, and Life of Pi puts storytelling right at the heart of what it is. This production is still running into 2022. You should absolutely go and see it, and you will have a fantastic time. My second favourite show of the year was Anything Goes. This transfer of the 2011 Broadway revival of Cole Porter musical Anything Goes to the Barbican Theatre was a hugely talked about event of the summer. I was lucky enough to be at the first preview, I saw the new cast, and I also went to go and see it on my birthday, which is an honour I generally reserve only for the best show in town. It may not be my favourite show ever written, it's in many ways very old-fashioned, by which I mean slightly racist, much of which has been addressed and corrected in the newer version of the show, it is worth saying, but it is just a joyful and uplifting piece of musical comedy that was phenomenally well cast. I mean, to have Tony Award winner Sutton Foster, who I've been obsessed with for literally decades, over here, tapping the end of Act 1 number, leading Blow Gabriel Blow. I mean, surely two of the best numbers of the year for 2021 musical theatre. It's just one of those Broadway shows that never gives you a second to catch your breath. There is comedy everywhere, there is clever staging everywhere. You get the feeling that this is the best production of this musical we are ever going to see. There wasn't a moment that wasn't given care, not a single second was lost. Kathleen Marshall, the director, looked at absolutely everything and made sure she was grabbing every comedy moment, every moment of pathos. She squeezed the juice out of every single moment of this show and made delicious theatrical lemonade. And now, my number one favourite show of 2021 was the revival of A Chorus Line at Leicester Curve. This is a show I saw so recently I haven't even talked about it on YouTube yet. I saw it between Christmas and New Year and I was on holiday. I wasn't making videos, I was having a break, leave me alone, gosh. So I do want to talk about this show in a full review that is coming to my channel very, very soon, but I was sat front row for this production, and this is one of my favourite shows of all time, and this was another revival that made an awful lot of changes and did things in a very non-traditional way, considering how carbon copy normal revivals of A Chorus Line can be. And I was just awestruck by everything that happened on that stage, from the initial moments of dance, to some of the changes, to some of the way that they had reinterpreted the music. I thought the whole thing was breathtaking, phenomenal, perfect, incredible. So there you have it, my 10 favourite pieces of theatre from 2021, both musicals and plays. I saw a great variety of things. Even with theatres only being open for half of the year, I managed to see some exceptional pieces of theatre, and I had a great time. So I will see you for another video just like this in a year's time, where I will let you know my 10 favourite pieces of theatre from 2022. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you're subscribed to my channel for more stagey content coming very soon, including a video where I tell you which shows I am most looking forward to in 2022. Also coming soon, my favourite theatre performances of 2021. We've talked about the shows, what about the actors? Also, if you want to support me as a stagey content creator, head over to patreon.com/MickeyJoTheatre for a bunch of exclusive photo and video content. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you had a very stagey 2021.
For 10 more seconds, I'm MickeyJoTheatre. Oh my god, hey, thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!